everybody, hope everyone's doing well. It's week 4 for the summer reading program. I hope everyone's still reading and logging all those minutes. We still have some great prizes left. If you still know any friends or siblings who haven't registered yet, feel free to encourage them to register. There's still time. And this week I'm going to be reading another excerpt from another book, and this one is Wings of Fire, and this one is about different dragon tribes that are about to go to war, and a young boy named Clay. And I'm going to read an excerpt from the first book. I'm going to actually read a little bit of the prologue, so you can get a taste of that and see if you want to pick it up and finish it for yourself. So, without further ado, a dragon was trying to hide in the storm. Lightning flickered across the dark clouds. Himitar clutched his fragile cargo closer. If he could make it over the mountains, he'd be safe. He'd escaped the sky dragon's palace unseen, and the secret cave was so close. But his theft has not been as stealthy as he thought, and eyes black as obsidian were already tracking him from below. The enormous dragon on the mountain ledge had pale gold scales that radiated heat like a desert horizon. Her black eyes narrowed, watching the gleam of silver wings far up in the clouds. She flicked her tail, and behind her 2 more dragons rose to the sky and dove into the heart of the storm. A piercing shriek echoed off the mountains as their talons seized the moon-pale ice dragon. "Bind his mouth," the waiting dragon ordered as her soldiers dropped Himitar onto the slick, wet ledge in front of her. He was already inhaling, ready to attack. "Quickly!" One of the soldiers grabbed a chain from the pile of smoldering coals. He threw it around the ice dragon's snout, clamping his jaws together with a sizzling smell of burning scales. Himitar let out a muffled scream. Too late. The sand dragon's forked tongue slithered in and out of her mouth. "You won't be using your freezing death breath on us, ice dragon." "He was carrying this, Queen Burn," said one of the soldiers, handing her a dragon egg. Burn squinted at the egg through the downpour. "This is not an ice-wing egg," she hissed. "You stole this from the Sky-Wing Palace." The Ice-Wing stared back at her. Hissing steam circled his snout where the hot chains met cold silver scales. "You thought you got away unnoticed, didn't you?" Burn said. "My Skywing ally is not a fool. Queen Scarlet knows everything that happens in her kingdom. Her lookouts reported an ice-wing thief sneaking away, and I had decided finding you might add some violence to my boring visit." Burn held the large egg up to the light of the fire and turned it slowly. Red and gold shimmered below the pale, smooth surface. "Yes, this is a Skywing egg about to hatch," Burn mused. "Why would my sister send you to steal a Skywing, Dragonette? Blaze hates any dragon younger and prettier than she is." She thought for a moment as rain drummed on the ledge around them. "Unless the brightest night is tomorrow." Her tail flicked up like a scorpion's, the poisonous barb inches from Himitar's eyes. "You're not in Blaze's army, are you? You're one of those insipid underground peacemongers." "The talons of peace," said one of the soldiers. "You mean they're real?" Burn snorted. "A few worms crying over a little blood. Unwrap his chains. He won't be able to freeze us until his scales cool down." The enormous sand dragon leaned closer as her soldier pulled the chains away. "Tell me, Ice Dragon, do you really believe in that pompous old Nightwing's prophecy?" "Haven't enough dragons died for your war?" snarled Himitar, wincing at the pain in his jaws. "All of Pariah has suffered for the last 12 years. The prophecy says—" "I don't care. No prophecy decides what happens to me," Burn interrupted. "I'm not letting a bunch of words or baby dragons choose when I die and what I bow to. We can have peace when my sisters are dead and I am queen of the Sandwings." Her venomous tail dipped closer to the silver dragon. Rain pattered on Himitar's scales. He glared up at her. "The Dragonettes are coming, whether you like it or not, and they'll choose who the next Sandwing queen should be. Really?" Burn stepped back and turned the egg slowly between her talons. Her forked tongue slipped in and out of her smile. "So, Icewing, Is this egg a part of your pathetic prophecy? Hivitor went still. Byrne tapped lightly on the eggshell with one long talon. Hello, she called. Is there a dragonette of destiny in there, ready to come out and end this big bad war? Leave it alone, Hivitor choked out. Tell me, Byrne said, what becomes of your precious prophecy if one of the 5 dragonettes is never hatched at all? You wouldn't, he said. No one would harm a dragonette. His blue eyes were fixed desperately on her talons. No wings of sky, excuse me, to help save the world, Byrne said. What a sad, sad story. She began tossing the egg from one front claw to the other. I guess that means you should be very, very careful with this terribly important little oops. With an exaggerating lunge, Byrne pretended the wet egg was slipping through her talons, and then she let it fall over the side of the cliff into the rocky darkness below. No! Hivitor shrieked. He threw off the 2 soldiers and flung himself toward the edge. Byrne slammed her massive claws down on his neck. So much for destiny, she smirked. So much for your tragic little movement. You're a monster, the Ice Wing gasped, writhing under her talons. His voice cracked with despair. We'll never give up. The dragonettes will come and stop this war. Byrne leaned down to hiss in his ear. Even if they do, it will be far too late for you. Her claws ripped through the silver dragon's wings, shredding them as Hivitor shrieked in agony. With a swift movement, she stabbed her poisonous tail through his skull and flung the long silver body off the edge of the cliff. The ice dragon's screams cut off long before the echoes of his corpse, slamming into the rocks below. The Sandwing turned her black eyes to her soldiers. Perfect, she said. That should be the last we hear about that stupid prophecy. She held out her talons so the rain could wash away the glistening blood. Let's go find something else to kill. The 3 dragons spread their wings and lifted off into the dark clouds. Some time later, far below, a large dragon the color of rust crawled over the rocks to the broken body of the ice dragon. She nudged his tail aside and lifted a shard of eggshell from underneath it, then slipped back into the labyrinth of caves under the cliffs. Stone walls brushed against her wings. She breathed out a plume of flame to light her way along the dark passage, deep into the mountain. I stand with the talons of peace, hissed a voice in the shadows. Kestrel, is that you? We await the wings of fire, answered the red dragon. A blue-green seawig emerged from a side cave. She tossed the eggshell at his feet. Not that it'll do us much good now, she snarled. Hivitor is dead. The seawig stared at the eggshell. But the skywing egg? Broken, she said. Gone. It's over, Webbs. It can't be, he said. Tomorrow is the brightest night. The 3 moons will all be full for the first time in a century. The dragonettes of the prophecy have to hatch tomorrow. Well, one of them is already dead, Kestrel said. Rage flickered in her eyes. I knew I should have stolen the skywig egg myself. I know the Sky Kingdom. They wouldn't have caught me a second time. Webbs grimaced, scratching one claw over the gills along his neck. Asha is dead, too. Asha? A spurt of flame shot from Kestrel's nose? How? Caught in a battle between blazes and blisters, forces on the way here. She still made it with the red mudwig egg, but she died of her wounds soon after. So it's just you, me, and Dune to raise the little worms, Kestrel growled, for a prophecy that can never be fulfilled. Let's break the cursed egg now and be done with it. We'll be long gone before the talons of peace return for the dragonettes. No, Webbs hissed. Keeping the dragonettes alive for the next 8 years is more important than anything. If you don't want to be a part of that, all right, enough, Kestrel snapped. I'm the strongest dragon in the talons of peace. You need me. It doesn't matter how I feel about nasty little dragonettes. She eyed the eggshell on the floor, rubbing her scarred palms together, although I thought at least one of them would be a skywing. I'll find us a 5th dragonette, Webbs pushed past her, scales scraping across rock. There's no way back into the Sky Kingdom, brainless, she said. They'll be guarding the hatchery closely now. Then I'll get an egg somewhere else, he said grimly. The rainwings don't even count their eggs. I could take one from the rainforest without anyone noticing. Of all the horrible ideas, Kestrel said with a shudder, rainwings are wretched creatures, nothing like skywings. We have to do something, Webbs said. He hissed as his tail sent the eggshell skittering across the floor. In 8 years, the talons of peace will come looking for 5 dragonettes. The prophecy says 5, and we're going to make it come true. Whatever it takes. So So that was the prologue to Wings of Fire, and I believe there's 4 other books in this series. So, and it might be more. I'd have to check on that. But this is the first one, and I recommend it. You're all doing great, keeping up with your minutes, logging your minutes. Continue to do so, and hope to see you guys in the library soon. We're slowly reopening, but it's a slow process, as you know. So keep reading.